Bela Castochla, Nuka Kamanawazi, Gaiklacha Numris, Nusaklach Gabuk, Quagit Legends, The Blind Girl. Okay, so a young lady, the daughter of a chief of the village, was born blind. She could not see at all. The chief had 2 servants who would take his daughter where she wanted to go. One day the blind girl said, "I'd like to go to the Cape Scott area. I've never been there before." So she and the 2 servants went off by canoe. The chief had a tall totem pole standing by its fine lodge. There was 2 eagles that always sat on the top of the totem pole and warned the village if someone had approached. From high up in the pole, the birds could spot canoes coming along before anyone else. As the blind girl and her 2 servants moved along in the canoe, they could hear the eagles screaming. After a while, the blind girl asked, "Will we be there soon? It seems like we've been traveling for a long time," she said to her 2 servants. Now the servants that were with the little girl had been taken as slaves from the other tribe. They had never lost hope of escaping back to their own people and now took the opportunity to try and do so. Yaksam! I did not know that was going to happen. One of the servants said, "I don't know where we are. It's really foggy here, and I think we're lost." Don't worry, said the chief's daughter. "We can turn back now, and the eagle's screams will guide us back home." The servants pretended to turn the canoe around, but actually headed out to the open sea. They paddled and they paddled. The blind girl could not tell when the night had fallen. When daylight came, they could only faintly hear the eagles, and by evening of that day, they could hear them no longer. They kept on for 2 or more days. On the evening of the 4th day, they reached a strange village. The people of the village met them at the beach and asked, "Where are you from? What are you doing here?" "You must be from far away, because we have not seen those canoes before." "Yes, we come from a far way," said the servant. "And why did you come here? What do you want?" But the servants didn't say much. One man said to the 3, "You better come up to the house." Then he asked the blind girl, "Who are you? What is your name?" "I'm the daughter of a chief," she said. "I don't know how we got here because I can't see. These 2 servants told me that we were lost in the fog. After 2 days, we could no longer hear the eagles on my father's totem pole. After that, we traveled for 2 more days." "Well, you've come to the right place," said the man. "I am the chief of this village, and I have a son who is at the marrying age. You are the daughter of our chief. If you marry my son, you may stay here," he said. Back at the village of the blind girl, her parents were very worried for her. She had been gone for several days, and they hadn't heard from her. "I fear that our daughter is dead," said the chief. "Perhaps she drowned. Although she has 2 people that may be able to help her." In his grief, he ordered, "Fall the totem pole that stands by my lodge, for it belonged to my daughter. It will not be raised until I see her again." So he wants them to take the pole down, and because it's for his daughter. Okay, when the people cut the tall pole down, it fell into the water towards Hope Island. It is now Nuiti Bar, a very rough and shallow spot when the tide goes out. At the strange village, the blind girl married the chief's son. And they had 2 sons. She waited until the sons were big enough to canoe by themselves, and then she told them, "You have grandparents where I come from, and I hope that they're still alive. Your grandfather was the chief of our village, and I was his only daughter. My father's servants ran away with me, and one day when they were supposed to take me to Cape Scott, they told me that we were lost in the fog, but we ended up here. If you find my people and you like it where they are, you may stay there," she said to her sons. "No, we would like to see our grandparents," said the boys, "and we'll try to find them." So their father made them a sturdy canoe dug out of a cedar tree. "Paddle south for 2 days," the mother instructed her sons, "and you will hear the scream of the eagles. Follow the eagles' voices for 2 more days, and when you arrive at the village, tell my father that I am all right. Tell him your names. He will know who you are, for you are named for him." The 2 sons of the blind lady set off on the canoe their father had made for them. On the 2nd day of their journey, they listened for the eagles but couldn't hear them. They traveled 2 more days but still didn't hear the eagles' voices. Then soon came to a village and inquired, "Is this the village of the chief who once lost a daughter who was blind?" Where's the big house with a totem pole beside it? "The house of the chief." "Our grandfather?" they asked. "He lives over there in that small little house," the man answered. "He took down his big house and the totem pole when his blind daughter did not return home." The boys went to the small house and knocked on the door. Now some of the villagers had been very cruel to the chief when his blind daughter was lost. They would come to his door and say, "Hey, your daughter's coming. She just landed on the beach. There's a big canoe approaching. It must be your daughter." The chief would go out and look, but there wouldn't be anything. When his grandsons knocked on the door and said who they were, he chased them away. "We had enough of this," he said. They knocked again on his door and said, "But we are your grandsons. Our mother told us your name. She has given us special names so that you will know it's us." "You had better go to the door and talk to them," advised the chief's wife. Finally, the chief went to the door. "And what are your names?" he asked the boys. His grandsons told him their names, and the chief knew that they must be the sons of his lost daughter. "Our mother wanted us to come and see you and tell you she's all right," the boys said. They told her the grandfather how their mother had been taken away by the servants. The chief believed them. He knew that they were his grandsons. "Pick up your things," he said to the boys, "and bring them inside. Tomorrow we'll bring the people to go gather and build a fine lodge again. We're going to have a potluck to celebrate my daughter's safety and that I have 2 grandsons. We're going to have a big feast and tell the people your names." And I feel good now. That's literally the end of the story. Yeah, I really love our stories, our legends. I try to embed them into me because, not only is language, but legends, singing, dancing, carving, our artwork, legend telling, history, everything is kind of going. So we really need to work really hard at remembering, memorizing, remembering, and continue to tell the stories so these don't die either, for your children and for our people and the the generations to come. So I hope you enjoyed the story.